Hello, and welcome to this Christian Walk, the show where no topic is too taboo to empower you on your walk with God. I'm your host, Marley B, and today's conversation is all about blessings. The things we hope for, the things we flat out ask God for. But the truest thing ever said is prayer without works is dead. So today we're going to chat about preparedness. I called on my friend and sister in Christ, Dr. Samantha D. Samantha has made excellence her daily mission, and she's going to touch on the importance of making sure we're doing our part to meet God halfway. So let's get into it. All right, I would like to welcome my guest, Dr. Samantha D. Thank you so much for coming, Samantha.
Thank you for having me.
You know what? I wanted to have somebody on here like when it's talking about when it's time to talk about preparing for blessings, right? We usually get to asking for stuff, but sometimes we don't know the importance. We skip that step of preparing for it. We just say, okay, Lord, I want something, but I don't, they skip and they wait on it, but they don't get into actively preparing for it, right? So I wanted to have this conversation with you because you're the type of person that you're a go-getter, right? I mean, let's just run down the list here, right? So pharmacist, first of all, right? Author, model, actress, motivational speaker, spiritual teacher, coach, mentor, credit consultant, brand ambassador, right? When you think about all of those things, the first question that comes to mind is this: do you sleep?
Yes, I do. I don't get my 8 hours, but I'll get a good 5 to 6 hours every night. But yes, I do sleep. Balance is important, but I do enjoy doing all of those things. I don't necessarily do them all at the same time, but I can juggle and shift and wear many hats. So yes.
And so a lot of times when you see people who are this driven, you wonder where that ambition comes from. And out of all these titles, I didn't on purpose mention the one that's the most pertinent, especially on this show, which is Child of God, right? Amen. Because through it all, I know that's the foundation that you stand on, correct?
Correct. Yes, yes. I would be nothing without God. I'm definitely a child of God. And because he said that we can do all things through him. So that's why I don't think there's a cap to what you can do. I think a lot of times we put ourselves in a box. Our society tells us you should be able to do this one thing and be happy and be satisfied. But I believe we all have an entrepreneur spirit somewhere inside of us. And we all are capable of doing many things. But a lot of times we'll let fear or doubt or just a lot of negative talking, get to us and we don't pursue it and we settle, we get comfortable. And so I think that just being a child of God and knowing that he is, the author of everything and he is truly in control and, just allowing him to pour his blessings into us or into me so that I can give back. That's what kind of helped, motivate and push me that, I don't want to come to heaven at the end and then I didn't use all my talents, the story of the talents where you have the talents, he gave it to you but you buried it or you didn't use it. So I just want to give it my all. Some things may be great, some may be good, some may be okay, but I just want to give it my all and just try and to see how it turns out. You never know what you can do until you give it your all and try. So
and so when you think about that ambition that you have, do you feel like is it something that you had your whole life?
Well, I'll say initially I didn't have it. I was kind of a shy kid, I wasn't really popular. And, I guess you can say little glimmers of what I could be or what I could do. And I would get affirmations from people in the public or people who didn't know me. Like they'd be like, oh, you're a very smart girl, or, are you a model? Like I would get different little things like that. Or if I read out loud in class, my teacher would say I have a nice voice. So different things I would hear that were affirmations and confirmations. But again, I was shy. I was worried about what people would say. And so I didn't necessarily start pursuing a lot of things until probably a little bit in high school, but more so after I graduated undergrad and when I was really out on my own as an adult, and I just kind of stopped caring at that point. And
Mm-hmm.
just was not worried about the peer pressure and different things that I think allowed, me to kind of shrink back. I used to let those things bother me. Those factors or variables weren't there anymore. So I was just able to push full speed ahead and just pursue truly making Samantha happy and fulfilled, and just not worrying about what others thought, not trying to dim my light to fit in, but just kind of just doing my thing.
Mm. And sometimes we do ourselves a disservice when we're afraid to be an individual. A lot
Right.
of times trying to fit in will to
Mm-hmm.
put us like off track years. Like we can
Yeah.
get, luckily we serve a God that can get us back on track and make those that time we missed or that we floundered, he can make it up for us once we get in line with what he wants for us. But fitting in and being afraid to be who we are. And I love how you said listening for those affirmations from other people, because sometimes when somebody give you a praise, hey, you're good at this, or you might be good at that, a lot of times we'll say, oh, okay, well, I don't see it. And then we just leave it where we received it. I know a lot
Mm-hmm.
of, and then sometimes you have to leave those things where you get them, because sometimes you'll get a compliment that is not really so much a plan that you can follow. Have you had someone tell you something that you were like, that
Hmm.
probably isn't for me, and you had to leave that alone?
I'm trying to think. Have I ever had that? Well, not necessarily. Like I've had people say that they could see me being a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and in a certain way, I can see myself teaching. But I don't think I've ever had someone like tell me, "Oh, you should do something," or "You would look good doing X, Y, and Z." For the most part, the things I have heard, luckily, have been something that I could see myself, doing or being. It was funny, growing up, my grandparents. I think this was my first taste of pharmacy. They would have me help them do their pill trays for the week, so I'd help put all their medicine in their pill trays. And my grandfather would always say, you have some sloppy handwriting. You must be, you're going to be a doctor one day. And so I didn't become a medical doctor, but I did become a pharmacist or a doctor of pharmacy. I got that degree. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say, I don't think I've ever really, had anybody, tell me anything that was far fetched from, kind of, what I'm already kind of doing or dibbling in already. So I guess that was a blessing.
Mm-hmm. And so as we're talking about um preparing for your blessings, right? As a coach, right? You're pretty
Mhm.
much like a life coach. You help people with credit restoration. So,
Mhm.
that's basically essentially a life coach. You're helping them get their life in order, and being an accountability partner with them through those things, right? What's
Mhm.
the most common mistake that you see for people who come for your services? Like if you could generalize something like a common mistake when it comes to people, because usually when you need help, it's because you need help planning, right? But
Right,
what
right.
what would you say would be the common mistake that you see for people that come to your help, come looking for your help as far as for coaching and things of that nature, for credit, for life?
Okay. Well, I believe one thing that I've noticed is that some people want stuff overnight. They don't really want to put in the work to get the results. And that could
Mm-hmm.
be for credit, for your life, whatever, like losing weight or starting a new career, going back to school, whatever, you didn't get to that position overnight, so you're not going to get out of it overnight. So people
Right.
like a quick fix or a microwave, kind of 60 seconds, boom, it's done. And I have to let them know that no, this is a process, because you want to break those habits and you want to commit to a new lifestyle, and it takes about 21 days to formulate a new habit. So you got to give it time. And then also, some people want something for nothing. I've had to start saying no a lot. I have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people in my inbox texting or just kind of wanting me to help them with modeling or help with credit or ask questions, but they don't want to pay. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying you got a nickel and dime for everything, but at the end of the day, I've made investments in myself to get to this point, and it cost me money, it cost me time, it cost me, different things, and I had to sacrifice. So at the end of the day, I have to get a return on my investment too. So I think I saw a meme that says you're not paying for that 15 minutes. You're technically paying for those 4 years I got that degree. Like you're paying for the time that I took,
Mm-hmm.
beforehand to prepare or put me in a position where I can help you. So, a lot of times people want stuff for free. And it's like once I give them a link to my website, tell them, if you want me to coach you or talk to you, then book an appointment, then I don't hear anything else. So that tells me that obviously you weren't that serious about it, because a lot of times when we have to invest our money or put our resources in it, then we take it more seriously and we can have a longer lasting effect. So I definitely think those, two things I've noticed, people just, want quick results, and then they want something for nothing. They don't want to have to pay for it. And that's just, not the reality of it. Things are going to cost.
That is, and you know what, one thing we had to learn, especially in the Black community, I have to say, is knowing your worth is important, especially when you're working for yourself, because people will Junebug and them, they will negotiate you down.
Right.
I mean, even if you can, as little as 15 cents, you will be up in the store, up in a negotiation with them. Can you get something? And it's like, why can't I be worth what I'm charging? Because you wouldn't go and negotiate somebody else down. So don't do it to me. If I got the school and I got the knowledge, especially if I'm coming professionally, so don't do people like that, people, please. If you don't learn nothing else from this conversation, please pay people what they were, right? And yes. And the other nugget that I got in that statement is invest in yourself.
Right.
That is something that's like the best thing you can do when preparing for your blessing, right? Because we can get on our knees all day and ask, whoever you want to ask, whether you asking Jesus, whether you asking Santa Claus, whether you asking Big Mama, whoever you asking. If you asking for something, you should get into agreement with that ask, especially if you asking God. If you asking for a new house, start working on your credit. Samantha can help you with that if you need that, if you need that, if you want to, get a better job, and you start looking at the education you need to move up in that job or whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? So when it comes to you preparing yourself, like you already did, you were already, in your field shining as a pharmacist and decided, okay, I want to switch gears. I want to go into modeling. This is something that I want to do. How did you prepare for that? How did you prepare for that?
Well, I had to, give myself permission to do more than one thing. Like I said earlier, we like to put ourselves in a box. And I just felt like, well, hey, you have a pharmacy career, you have a home, you're doing pretty well. You should be satisfied. But the truth of the matter was I wasn't. I still had a desire and a longing for more. And I enjoyed taking, photos, and, I was, good at it. And so a part of me, kind of was trying to push it to the side and ignore it. But every time I try to do that, it just kept coming back, and I just had to deal with it. So how I prepared, I just kind of started doing the work. I started going to model calls. Matter of fact, I'm going to a model call tomorrow. So I'm going to have to actually leave work, go to the model call, and then come back to close. I have somebody who's going to cover me for like an hour or two so I can go and do that. But I had to start, doing the work, going to model calls. I had to start investing my own money into photo shoots. Like I do photo shoots monthly. And, a lot of people are like, well, where do you get the clothes from? Are people giving you the clothes? I even had somebody ask me, do I wear the clothes and take them back to the store? And I was like, no, I don't do that. Like, I'm not that kind of, person. I'm not trying to hustle or borrow clothes. Now, if I had an agreement set up with the store, that's one thing, but I'm not going to go and buy it, wear it, and then take it back, get my money back. And I'm not trying to knock people who do what they have to do. But this is something that I'm serious about. So I have to invest in my craft. So yes, I pay the photographers, I pay the makeup artists, I, buy the clothes. I do all of that myself because I want the product. I want the pictures. I feel like that this is, me creating art. So I had to be willing to invest in myself, take that extra time. It's not easy. A lot of people think, oh, it's just something simple. It's fun. And it is fun, but it can be challenging. It's a lot of work. Like there's some days I'll do photo shoots after work. I've already done an 8-hour day. I leave work, go to the makeup artist, from there, boom, go do the photo shoot for like 2 more hours that night. So I woke up at 5 something, went to the gym that morning, by the way, then went to work and then did all that evening. So I had a full day, and then I got to get into bed and go to work the next day. But I don't complain because this is something that I'm passionate about. So you have to be willing to go that extra mile, put in the extra hours, and do what you need to do to get the results. You don't have time to complain or like, or have one foot in, one foot out. And that's how I was initially. But then I made my mind up. I'm like, look, if I want to get better at modeling, if I want to be taken seriously, I have to take myself seriously. I have to put serious stuff out there. I have to make sure that my work is, worthy of being liked or shared, or that if I want a brand to recognize me, then I have to put in that legwork and really invest in myself. Because again, if I'm not willing to do the legwork or go the extra mile for myself, why would I expect somebody else to do that? So when I love this phrase, it says, success is when preparation meets opportunity. So that's when you have success. When you prepare, you've done your part, you've been practicing, whatever it is you say you're good at, you should be practicing and investing in that, because you never know when that opportunity is going to come. So that's when success happens. When you've already prepared, then opportunity knocks, boom, it aligns, you're ready. So if somebody says they're a singer and somebody sees you in the street, you should have a stereo in your trunk, or you should have a song already prepared, instrumental that you can play on your phone and boom, bust out a song in a minute. Like whatever I said I'm good
Boys the Man.
Right. Whatever. Whatever I said I'm good at, I should be able to perform or be ready to, show my portfolio. I should be able to type up my website or show them my Instagram page or whatever the case is. If I say I'm a chef and somebody say, okay, I want you to cook me a meal, then okay, fine. I'll be to your house, in 20 minutes. If that's the case, we go to the grocery store now, pick out the ingredients. Boom, I should have a signature meal that I can cook with my eyes closed.
Right.
This is what I profess I do. So a lot of times people say that this is their passion, this is what they're good at. But when you ask them to, okay, let's see it. Let me see some of your fruit. They don't have anything to show, because a lot of it's just talk, but it's not action. And you got to have where your action or your words match what you're saying you want to do. You can't be all talk, but no walking.
Oh, yes. I love it. And then, so in all of your endeavors, I know you probably had your fair share of missteps or failures that you had to overcome. What's the biggest lesson that failure has taught you?
Well, I'll say for modeling, it's taught me to be wiser and not be so thirsty for an opportunity, not be so quick to jump on something without investigating. And also, if something's a good idea, if something's a good opportunity, and if it's meant for you, it'll be a good opportunity tomorrow. It'll be a good thing for you in 2 or 3 days. Let anybody rush you into a decision. I had a situation where I was fooled online. It was on Instagram. Somebody borrowed or stole some pictures and told me they were a talent agent. And I bought into it, and they told me that they were going to help me get a trademark, which is something I want to do. And I did do on my own after this experience. I did it last year, but I actually officially got it this year.
Congratulations.
But, thank you. And basically, I foolishly Western Union this person, I want to say it was like $150, almost $200, because I thought it was, legit. I thought, I was going to, meet this person. They were talking about doing a reality show. I would be one of the, aspiring models. It was kind of like it was going to be a spinoff of America's Next Top Model, but it was all a lie. It was all fraud. And I basically lost my money. So that really, crushed me and hurt my feelings. But I was just so, like I said, hindsight 2020, when I look back on it, I was just so excited that, oh, okay, somebody finally saw me, or this might be my big break, that I just ignored the signs of the fact that, maybe you should have let, your local people, your local agency, hear about them or ask them about it or vet it to make sure it's legit. And, why they want you to send money the first day, give you some time to review the information. So like I said, I was just so thirsty or so wanting something that happened so badly that I ignored all the flags and I just jumped on it. So, that was a lesson to me. I had to learn the hard way. I lost some money, but I'm glad it wasn't a huge amount of money, but it still was money nonetheless. But that you don't have to be so, quick to jump on something. Take time to read the fine print. Take time to make sure this is legit. This is real. And like I said before, if it's a good opportunity today, it'll be a good opportunity tomorrow. Don't let somebody rush you into something. Give you 3 to 5 days to sleep on it, or have somebody who's more, trusted, or who knows more about that situation or that entertainment industry or whatever industry than you would know, and to make sure that you don't fall into it. So that was a tough lesson, but it did help me, slow down. And then, like I said, I also went on and did my own trademark myself. So it's just like a lot of times, we try to look for shortcuts or want something, for nothing, or thinking that somebody can help us, when a lot of times, you can help yourself. You can do that work yourself. So stop looking outside sometimes for validation, or outside for someone to get you to the next level. and, use your own resources, do your own work, because you'll appreciate it more once you've accomplished whatever you set out for.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that I had to learn myself was one, like you said, if it's going to be there today, it's going to be there tomorrow, right? And when it comes to certain situations and opportunities, take that moment to pray on it, right?
Yes.
Praying on it, that definitely makes the difference, because consulting God will, even if it ends up being a situation that is probably not the best fit, because you consulted him, it's just best to have him in your corner of, when it's time to get out of him, he can still make it for your good because you did consult him. And right. I just wanted to put that out there when it comes to waiting a minute, doing your due diligence. But as Christians and on this Christian walk, definitely advise people to take a moment to consult God about it, because that's definitely somebody you want in the mix or whatever decision it is, right? Would you say, when it comes to preparing for your blessing, that preparing internally is just important as externally?
Yes, I think it might be even more, because everything starts as a mindset. Everything starts as a thought, as an idea. So, definitely you need to be working on it internally and, doing the outward work as well, because a lot of times we want blessings, but we're not ready for it. If we have to be honest with ourselves, we're not ready mentally to handle it. We're not mature enough. So if God gave us everything we're asking for right now, we wouldn't be able to keep it, because your talent or your skill can get you there, but your morale, your character, your work ethic, that kind of stuff, your integrity, that's going to keep you there. And if that part is immature or lacking, then you're gonna, or you don't have the discernment or the wisdom to know to pray about it, or how to move, or just because somebody invites you somewhere don't mean you got to go, or just how to know how to say no, or just be true to yourself. If you just so hungry or want to just make it so bad, then you could definitely get led astray. And again, you rise to the top, but then you'll have a serious fall. So I definitely think it's a balance on both. You got to be mentally, internally, spiritually ready, and do the legwork too. You got to do the studying, you got to do the prep time, you got to do whatever is necessary to be able to actually acquire it, because of course faith without works is dead. But you definitely just can't think you can just do all the work and not worry about your soul or your inner man, because definitely that's got to be able to keep you. And it's unfortunate, but some people commit suicide because they can't handle the pressure of the newfound fame or success. They're not grounded. So they get that one bad comment, that one bad review, and it knocks them off their, seat, or they just really crushes them. Because now in this social media age, people are very cruel. People are gangsters behind their keyboards. So they'll say anything. Yes. So you got to be prepared for that. You got to learn how to guard yourself and protect your heart and protect your thoughts. And so you can't just indulge in every situation, and you got to know how to keep scrolling, go past, or, just be able to know that, what, I am what God says I am. And as long as I'm in his will and I'm in his purpose, then it doesn't matter what the world says. So you got to be able to take the compliments, not let it get you too high and full of yourself, but then you can't let the critiques or the negativity get you too low. You got to be able to stay in that balance. So you got to have a team around you that can do that, but also have your own inner faith, and that them quiet moments where you can pray and be still and hear from God and allow him to lead you and guide you. So yeah, it's definitely a mix of both. And like I said, I think sometimes the internal is more important, because if you can get your mind and your discipline and your soul where it needs to be, then, regardless of whatever else happens, you'll be able to meet it, because you've already done the work and disciplined yourself.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. And now, speaking of like that chatter, right? Sometimes when we are, Christians, and we're in the church, and like, you teach, I actually met you in singles class, right? You were one of the teachers. And that's how we met and started our relationship. Have you been, being someone who, one, you're doing the pharmacy thing? Well, of course, that's something that's going to be respected in all circles of life. But have you had that, how the saints can get to pointing their fingers when it comes to, oh, well, you got to be careful with that, with doing that, and one thing about this show, I want to be real about the fact that, it can be real, sometimes church folk,
Right.
they can get a little silver tongue. And I'm just wondering, how'd you deal with that, and how did you deal with it?
Well, to be honest, I'm sure it might be people who have talked about me, but they haven't said it to my face. I'll say that. But again, I think it goes to being grounded, because I know who I am, and because I know my modeling does not separate me from God, or the choices I make sure that I'm not doing anything that's not in alignment with my faith. I'm okay with that. Now, do I wear things that might be a little sexy to some? Sure, because at the end, I'm a single woman. I'm not married. So I feel like, being a single woman, I can push the envelope in a respectful manner for myself, for my own standards.
Yes.
And I always make sure that I'm tasteful in whatever I do. So yeah, you may see, a split, you may see a little cleavage, whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, I still know that I am covering the most important pieces. And I'm not going to do anything that's going to be disrespectful to myself or to God. And then more importantly, one day I want to have children. So I don't want to do anything that, I would want them to not look at, or, be ashamed of. But at the end of the day, that's, my personal choice of, what I do, what I don't do. So I'm not going to allow, church people or anybody, tell me how I can express myself through art, or how I choose to do that. Because again, even the people who do show their bodies, that doesn't mean they don't have a relationship with God. So again, we have to, the church and just in general, not judge folks from the outward appearance, because like the Bible says, God judges the heart. So God does know my heart. So I know, how far I can go, but again, I'm a grown woman, I'm not, a young person. And, I'm not underage. I'm not married, don't have any children. So I feel like in my realm, I'm okay with what I do. I don't have any, qualms about, what I do. Now, when I get married, if my spouse wants me to kind of be a little more conservative, then I don't have a problem with doing that for my spouse. But again, just certain things, it's going to ultimately be my decision, and it's going to deal with my relationship with God. Everybody has to, make sure that their relationship is in right standing. And what I find out a lot of times when people critique you or have something negative to say about you, is because they wish they could do it. Or they are, sad that, when they were younger, they didn't get to experience certain things. And so now they're a little salty or bitter because, again, you're living your life and they're wishing they could have done, what you're doing. So, I don't let people put their beliefs or, their standards on me. I'm an individual. I have a brain that works. I can think for myself. And so, that might work for you, but, how I choose to live or how I choose to do what I want to do, I feel like you can still be sexy and saved. You can still be cute and serve the Lord. You can still, I'm not going to allow, the patriarchal society we live in to try to control me as a woman or a female and tell me, how far I can go. Because I used to be more, like, oh my gosh, what people say, or I'm going to be thought of as less than, or, I did have those beliefs. And then as I got older, I'm like, well, wait a minute. The people who I thought, I'm going to say it, God forbid, forgive me, were the hoes, they married, Yeah. So it's like the people who we used to,
it's a hot girl summer every day, ain't it?
Right. So for people that, I used to prejudge, which I shouldn't have, they're living their lives, they're doing their thing. So at the end of the day, who am I to say what's appropriate for them or what's not appropriate? That's something that you're going to have to handle and do, for yourself, but, again, yes, use good judgment, use discernment, but, I just don't feel like you should have to be judged by what you, wear or how you express yourself. Now, certain things, yes, it's going to be too far. But again, for some of the things, I feel like it's just people just being jealous and they can't handle it. So they want to push it off on you.
Yes, I love that. And see, that's what I want to be clear about, that people think that just because you wear the title Christian, that you get to judge people. And that's just that's the last thing you get to do if you pay attention. If if you are in relationship with God, that is not something you would see. And if you know God, that is not something that he wants you or is giving you permission to do.
Right.
And so I applaud you for owning your sexy and your single, and I love that about you, and you own it and you do it respectfully, like a lady and like a true professional. So kudos to you for that, darling.
I appreciate it.
No problem. Now I love this. I looked on your website, right? And that is SamanthaDeloge.com, and it will make sure that we get it on there. Right.
Yes.
So but I love that you had this one acronym on here. I am a model, and that's with the motto being the acronym Mission of Daily Excellent Living.
Yes.
And I just feel like for anybody preparing for a blessing, that's just a great model to live by. And you can tell that it's not something you just sat on the paper and wrote out and figured it out because it was cute and clever. You live your life to this, right? And I commend you on that. But where did you get that? And tell me what that means to you.
Well, thank you. Well, I wanted model to be more than just physical appearance, because I think a lot of people think, to be a model, you got to look a certain way. And I wanted it to be where we all can model, because we do model. You either modeling excellence or you're modeling not excellent, or, you're doing something that's negative. So I wanted it to really help with my motivational speaking as well. I wanted to have that be a message that, it's a model mindset. So mission can also be a mindset. It's a mindset of daily excellent living, because every day you wake up, that's a new opportunity. That's a new chance for you to live your life in an excellent manner. And so I, broke down each letter. And like I said, M is the mindset. What is your mindset? What are you thinking? Because you believe what you tell yourself more than anybody else. So if you have stinking thinking, that's on you, but you can have positive thinking too. So it all starts with a mindset. So I want everyone to be intentional about what they're thinking, because, we think 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 thoughts a day, not 1,000, but 1,000,000 thoughts a day. But what are you focusing on? What are you telling yourself? Because again, what you tell yourself is what you're going to repeat, or what you're going to actually put out there. So get your mindset right. And then O will be the either opposition or opportunity. How do you look at things? If something happens to you, we all go through experiences, but what am I going to take from this? Am I going to let this knock me down, or am I going to let this give me something I can learn from? So instead of looking at it as an obstacle or opposition or something that's trying to oppress you, look at it as an opportunity, something I can learn from, and to dust off and, just keep going. And then D, I like to say, dig in. Again, a lot of us are on the surface with our lives. We want something, but we're flirting with it. We're not fully committed. We're just playing
flirting with it.
Yeah, we just, we kind of like, when everything's going perfect, I'm there. But when it's not, I done gave up. So it's time to stop, playing around and just get serious and dig in. I think with how 2020 has been, and just in general, we've all had our eyes open that tomorrow's not promised. So if it's something you want to do, just do it. Dig in. Stop, playing around, but really get dirty, roll your sleeves up, dig in, and just try. Just get started. It can be, one day, or it can be day one, but you decide. So you just got to make up in your mind to dig in, get started. Because again, if you're waiting for that perfect opportunity, it'll never come. There's going to always be something going on. It's going to always be something that can be a distraction, or that can disturb you, or, take you off. But you just got to just start somewhere and just dig in and give it your all. And then E, I like to say, is excellence, because the key thing with excellence is it's not perfections, but it's saying that I'm doing my best to excel. I'm doing my best to just give it my all. So we should all be pursuing excellence, and that's going to look different for everyone. But you got to just start, giving it your best. You can go into something with a lackadaisical, lazy mindset, or just kind of just half doing it. And if you're half doing something, or you can say, you know what? I don't know it. I don't understand it, but I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to try to excel. I'm going to get better at this. So one day I can be excellent. So that's just the attitude. It's just saying like, hey, and sometimes a C+ might be an excellent for a person, but if they keep digging, keep pursuing, keep practicing, that C can turn into a B, or can turn into an A. But you just got to keep having that mindset that I'm going to give this my best. And then L is just live your life. Again, a lot of times people are waiting, they're in a constant season of waiting. I'll wait till when I get married. I'll wait till I get more money. I'll wait till this happens. I'll wait till I get a job, or, I'm just wait, or waiting on that perfect opportunity, waiting for that person to call me back, or waiting for that person to say, I'm sorry. We're just spending our time waiting on so many things. And it's like, you got to stop all that. The only person you can control is yourself. So at the end of the day, stop waiting on somebody else or for external circumstances to validate you or to give you the okay, and just live your life and just, start somewhere. But again, start living, because nobody knows when they're going to take their last breath. So you don't want to keep just, pushing off stuff or delaying stuff, until something else happens. No, you need to go ahead and just start living today, make your mistakes, but learn from them, and, really just keep going. So that's when I said, you know what, that's what I want to let that be my message. That be my ongoing theme, a mindset of daily excellent living, or have a mission of daily excellent living. Every day when I wake up, I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday. I'm not comparing myself to anybody else, but I'm comparing myself to me, the person who I look at in the mirror. That's who I want to model. That's what I want to be, the best model, a best representation of. So in my eyes, anybody can model. It doesn't matter your age, your shape, your gender, how you look, none of that stuff matters, your class. Just, we all can make that decision. And that's a decision that you have to make daily. You have to decide every day, what am I going to do? How am I going to live this day? So.
Absolutely. I mean, that is such a great motto. And anybody who is looking to trying to figure out how to best prepare for what it is that they want for themselves, I think that says it in a nutshell. It starts with your mind. It starts with in your mind saying, hey, I want this. And then being able to say, too, I'm worthy of this, right? And then actually doing the work, actually being bold enough to take the steps that are going to get you there. And when you get to that side of the sidewalk that had cracks in it, or it's missing a few chips, you just gotta stumble on through them and keep on going, so that you are inching towards that blessing, and then still preparing yourself along the way.
Right. Exactly. It's definitely doable. It's not hard. It's not easy, I should say, but it's not necessarily the hardest thing either. It's just, you have to get that mindset, because if you really want something, you got to really put in the work. Anything worth having is worth working for. And, you just got to put in the work. You got to do it.
The work is it. That's it. Well, I had to ask you this too, right? How, out of all of these things you did, I've already named them one good time, right? But out of all the things you do, how do you find balance between all your responsibilities and your social life? Because even when you're going towards your blessings, and you have all these goals, in order to self-care, balance is the key, right? So how do you find that balance in between all that you have to do, all that you want for yourself, and all that, and be able to maintain some sense of social life?
Gotcha. Well, I'll say that is one of my hardest things that I struggle with, is trying to find the balance. But I had to, give myself permission to know that balance does not mean 50-50. Balance can be 60-40, it can be 70-30, it can be 80-20. Whatever is the most important thing at the moment, then that gets the top priority. So if I got a photo shoot coming up at that moment, that's going to have the high priority. If I have a speaking engagement or a podcast like this one I got to be on, then that's where my focus shifts. So it's about being flexible in how you manage your time, and, just kind of knowing that everything can't be number one at the same time, but also balance doesn't have to be 50-50. And then I have to just be intentional about carving out time for myself. I try to make it a habit. And so far I've done it this year, give myself a massage and a facial monthly. So again, that's a time where I can just lay down at table and just kind of let everything just flow from my body, and just kind of just relax and just truly just reset. So I make it my business to do those things, and just, it doesn't even have to be that for everybody, but just find something that you enjoy doing, and just make sure you do it at least, if not weekly, once a month, but find a way to get back to you. I also want to start back reading. I used to love reading growing up, but after I started going to pharmacy school and dealing with sciences and all that stuff, I didn't have time for leisure reading. I had to read my books and study for exams. And so it kind of pushed it out of the way, but I still enjoy reading. So I even joined a book club, but the pandemic, shut that down last year, but I still ordered a lot of the books from the book club. And I'm not gonna lie, after the book club kind of shut down, I kind of fell off with reading, but I want to pick up this year back just leisurely reading. If I can read a book, one book a month, that would be good, because if I get a good novel, I'm in it, and I don't have anything against people who read on Kindles or other electronic devices, but because I look at a computer so much every day, I don't want that. I want to hold a paperback or a hardback book and just read. And my ideal thing would be to be on a beach on a vacation and just spend one day reading.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get back to that. So just finding ways to get back to things that I enjoy doing. And I'm just, again, knowing that things don't have to be 50-50, that, I have to find my way to whatever's the top priority at that moment, deal with that, and then shift it. Excuse me. So that's how I try to, find balance for myself.
Oh yeah. Well, see, and one thing that I have to thank you for too, right? You, for years and years I had heard about vision boards, right? But you were the one last year to have me. I had my first real vision board. Like I had made like a little makeshift one other time that was cool, but like I really intentionally, like you showed me how to build a vision board, right? And how it's good to be able to, pray over it and really talk to God before building it. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. You talk to God before, before actually putting it together and, pray over it. Make sure that I have my life verse in the middle of that thing, and actually, making the vision plain, write it out, make it plain, and trust God to make whatever it is that I'm putting on that thing. Cause it's like, when people make vision boards, like I think sometimes you're just putting like, a car you might want and all that stuff, but that's not just for a dream car or a dream house. It's for a dream life.
Yes, it's a complete thing. And I used to not take them seriously, initially, but then I started realizing the power in making your vision plain, having a visual representation that you see daily. That remind you. And then to me, that also helps build your faith, because when you start checking those things off, accomplishing those things, and it's like, yes, I was able to say what I wanted in January, and by December, it happened, you know what I'm saying? So I think vision boards are excellent for anybody, just because to me, it makes you become more accountable. It's out of your head, it's on paper, it's tangible. And now, you kind of have a sense of accountability, like, okay, how many years am I going to keep putting this same thing on my board, but not making any strides towards trying to accomplish it?
Exactly.
So it makes you say, hey, man up, woman up. If this is what you really want, then you need to make the steps towards making it happen, and again, seeking God for it, because, you've got to know what your why is. Why do you want this thing?
Right.
Where is it coming from? Because when you have your why that's solidified, when you get those tough moments, it'll help you push through. Now, if I don't have a strong why, if I'm just doing something because my mama wants me to do it, or because it's the popular thing to do right now,
or because it's shiny.
Right. Because that's what's it, right now. Then when times get rough, I'm going to let it drop or fall to the side. Or when the next wave comes, I'm going to ride that wave. But if something's truly a passion, something that that God placed in your heart, or something that you truly want to do, and why you're doing it, then when times get rough, you can withstand that trouble or that tough season and still persevere and still stick with it.
That's it. Well, all right. Whatever it is, make it plain, believe you can have it, visualize it. And for the people that's just like, well, I don't want to make a whole vision board. It doesn't have to be a whole board, but definitely get it out your head. Right. If a lot of people have a whole lot of stuff floating around their head, like, oh yeah, I already know what I want to do. And it's in there. Write it down, put it in the universe, and hold yourself accountable for it. Right. That's definitely something that we can say, that we can definitely agree on among other things when it comes to preparing for what it is that you want for yourself, preparing for those blessings. Right.
Right. It's almost like excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's like a business plan. If I want to go to a bank, they're not going to give me money if I don't have a business plan. I have to have it written. So it just, to me, it shows how serious you are, because anybody can talk a talk. But if I truly say that it's something I want, then what have I put down or prepared? What plan is in place? What kind of, structure do I have? If I'm a singer or a songwriter, then I should have a book of songs. If I'm a good cook, then I should have some recipes. Like, it's just, to me, it just shows more proof, and it just solidifies your credibility about this is what I really want, and these are the steps I'm taking. This is the proof of it, because I'm not just talking, but I have it on paper. I have it, in a book. I have it on a poster. I have a record of me, creating this thing, and this is how it turns out. So
excellent. Well, thank you so much, Samantha, for a great conversation. I knew that you were the person to have on here about preparing for your blessings, because ma'am, you know how to go after yours, and you know how to prepare for yours. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I love your podcast, and you are an example of going after your dreams as well and making it happen. And so it's a blessing to be a part of this, because I remember you talking about it, and now it's in action. Like, I'm actually on the podcast with you, like, oh my God. So, just seeing how you have just birthed this has been exciting, and I know it's going to continue to grow, and I'm excited for you. So thank you for allowing me to be in your world for a little bit and to share in this. This has been truly a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Samantha, Dr. Samantha Deloge, the modeling pharmacist, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, Samantha, for joining the conversation. You definitely dropped some nuggets that motivated and inspired me, and I hope somebody else watching. If you like this information, if you find that it blessed your spirit, please like it, please share it, and definitely subscribe to my channel. Today we reminded ourselves that asking is just the beginning. In order for God to really change our prayers into blessings, action is essential. But when we ask, we also need to make sure that we're moving, and while we're moving, we need to trust that God is going to come through for us. I know loving God can be easy. Trusting God can be hard. But I believe we can all get there one step at a time on this Christian walk. See you next time.